dreaming a new horizon, and a day it all came true. Keller Williams, you make dreams come true. Home sweet home, oh home sweet home, home sweet home.
You're listening to Home Sweet Home with Russ McClellan and friends. And here's Russ.
I now have one friend. I have him on the line. I didn't even have to pay him to be online. Michael, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Happy to be here, and again, happy to be your one and only friend today.
Well, 2021, one friend's better than no friends. It's now
That's
half
true.
full.
Yep.
Yeah, what's the saying? It's either half full or half empty, and it's half empty, then you need to get a different glass.
There you go.
There you go. Hey, I want to talk to you. Michael's with Prime Lending, for those 2 or 3 people on planet Earth that don't know who he is. And Sharon Crockett, they are Prime Lending. And Prime Lending happens to be one of the best communicators there is in the lending world. I've been in the game 32 years. I do have a finance degree. I do know a little bit about real estate finance, and if nothing else, through attrition and beating my head against a wall. And so, Mike, I appreciate you, as always, being on the show with us each and every week. What in the world is going on in 2021? I know you just met with a state leading economist. Could you maybe summarize what's happening? I mean, do you think we're going to fall off a cliff? Do you think we're going to go to the moon? I mean, depending on who you ask, you get a lot of different scenarios right now.
Yeah, so it was an interesting call. Long story short, rates are, again, no one has a crystal ball, but it sounds like rates will steadily increase as 2021 progresses. Hopefully if we get another gift, they will stay steady. I know the Fed has said that they won't continue to raise rates as of right now, but again, as we know, they can change their mind on the drop of a dime or the drop of a hat. So as far as that's concerned, that's what this particular economist who we've listened to over the last couple of years, and he has his yearly call, has alluded to. So that just goes to show that as rates, if we get into, which, you would know better than anybody, but we've had tons of offers beat out by all of these people that are fleeing metropolitan areas, and they're just flush with cash. And, you get a property listed for $500,000 and they're getting an offer for $600,000, so $100,000 over. So all that to say is if we continue to appreciate like this and rates go up, there really is no better time to buy than right now, because money's only going to get more expensive, and potentially the purchasing power as far as the prices of all these homes. In these certain areas that we are in north central Washington, and it seems, Douglas County, and even on the west side as well, a lot of people are moving over to north central. It's just the prices are going to keep increasing. So yeah, it's an interesting time to be into 2021 for sure.
Yeah, and we're an appreciating market. I think we across the board appreciated something like 17% last year, which is a phenomenal number. And like we talked about, 75% down year over year in inventory in 1 year. Rates at an all-time low. People can now work from anywhere and make the same kind of money. They used to have to live in the city. They used to have to fight I-5 corridor, 2 hours one way to work, back and forth, pulling their hair out. All of a sudden, now they can live in Chelan, they can live in Leavenworth, they can live in Wenatchee, they can live in Rock Island, Mansfield. As long as you got internet, as long as you got high-speed internet, you're pretty much. So what that's doing is it's adding a demand, right? There's adding.
Yep.
I'm not saying everybody's going to move over, but I'm telling you what, I've been selling real estate for 30 years out of Chelan, and the vast majority of those people come from Puget Sound. Historically, they were retirees, second homeowners, one of the two, or investment guys. Now we're selling to primary residents. You're probably seeing it too. And all of a sudden, like you said, the worst case scenario, especially for first time home buyers that are normal humans, like make normal wages, like school teachers, cops, things like that around here. They're going to be those first time home buyers are going to be the hardest hit because that down's going to be hard to come by. But right now, if you don't wait and appreciate another, 10 to 17% hypothetically, even if there's a bunch of potential foreclosures, you made a good point. I think they're going to get gobbled up. But you have programs, don't you, Michael, with Prime Lending for that down payment assistance program, which can help bridge. Even though the prices are getting higher, there's some assistance out there.
Definitely. Yeah, it actually lends people up to 4% of the loan amount at 0% interest for 30 years. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. There's no fine print, which I know is hard to believe. There's a couple qualifying factors that people need to realize, but we can discuss that on their individual particular files and their scenario that they have going on. One thing that was interesting that he also said, and I think this kind of alludes to the demand factor, is you have all these people locking in at these incredible rates, just rates that, are unheard of at this point, and historically speaking. And in a few years, if we still get appreciation, it's going to make it somewhat challenging, or it could. People are always going to want to move here and there, but we're also seeing people stay in their homes a little bit longer, only because if you're locked in at 2.875 and then all of a sudden rates go up to 3.5 or something, you may or may not want to hold on to that home just a little bit longer. So if you can get in now while it is low and, sell while it's low too, so that you can turn around and, buy something while interest rates are also low so you can take advantage of it. It really is a unique opportunity, but it also shows of what the future could have, which could end up being even less demand and just more appreciation just because people are staying longer. So yeah, it's almost a double-edged sword if you wait, just because if that is in fact what happens, the appreciation plus rising interest rates are just going to make it more expensive. But for those people that are just entering the market, don't let that spook you. We have so many programs. I can't name them all while we're on the air right now. But if you have, a good credit score, even if you don't, I can help you, and Sharon and I can help you at Prime Lending get that where it needs to be. We never turn anybody away. We're always willing to work with someone as far as if they have bad credit, no credit. We can actually do loans with no credit. So any scenario that you find yourself in, just reach out to us, and I'll give you my number real quick, and we can have a conversation. And that's 425-760-8824.
Yeah, that's a great point. And when you think that rates can't change in a hurry, let's go back in time for those people that maybe were playing Xbox or Nintendo or their Game Boy, depending on your age. But between 2004 and 2006, the Fed raised rates 17 times. So between 2004 and 2006, right before that little thing called the 2008 Great Recession, the Federal Reserve raised rates 17 times in 3 years. So just because rates are low today does not mean they're going to stay low. In fact, I can guarantee one thing: zero as low as they probably are going to go, and that's what they cut the Fed rate to. It's hard to get lower than zero. So we're probably easy, safe bet to guarantee they're going to go up. The question is when and how rapidly. Is it going to be like 2004 to 2006? Where all of a sudden, we were at 6.25% on the Fed rate, where now we're at zero, right? So when you go back in time and you try to learn from history, nothing is exactly the same. These indicators, there was no such thing as, algorithms being talked about in the normal world back in 2004, 5, 6, but it's a very big deal now, right? The influence of the social media campaigns. And the fact is that Microsoft and Amazon are in our backyard. And I think a guy told me once, Seattle's a little city and the world's a big place. And a lot of people know what Amazon is. A lot of people know what Microsoft is. So even though there's people leaving the city, there's people coming to the city from all over the world. So it's a very strange time. And I think that for us, when you live in a good place, it does get frustrating that sometimes things change in a bad way, like taxes, affordable housing, And, you know, I'm going to put a plug in for developers that are developing with what I call smart growth. If there's something that I'd like to see changed, it's the efficiency of processing time. And it's not the people that work in the government, but, you know, it's important, right? So as we talk about loans, locking interest rates, maybe that's a good question. If somebody is qualified, Michael, and they locked a rate today, how long will that rate be good for?
Yeah, so right now, depending in North Central in particular, you can actually, the borrower gets to decide how long they lock. And obviously we have a discussion with them. The biggest point of contention is appraisal times. They can take, you know, quite a few weeks, up to a month or more, depending on if it's an outskirt like Quincy or Ephrata. Those tend to take a little bit longer. But we actually have that discussion and the cost associated with locking a rate. But you can lock a rate. I have someone who is doing a new construction. We started the process back in, what was it? I want to say September, October of 2020, and they locked their rate in then, and they're still locked today. So you can actually go up to 360 days on a lock. Most people don't need that. The typical is 30 to 90 days on most transactions. And then you're protected. And the good thing about working with Prime is we have a free float down option. So you're protected from your rate going up, and you can take advantage of it if your rate goes down. And that's something we offer at no charge to the borrower.
Yeah, which is a big deal because there's nothing quite as disappointing as if there happens to be a rate drop and you don't get you have to pay such a big fee that you don't get to take advantage of it. So that's something new. I didn't know that. I'm glad you shared that with us. Hey, and if you want to give Michael or Sharon at Prime Lending a call, you should, because they're not just, how can I put this? They're not just going to just say, here you go, fill out this application, and I'll let you know if you qualify or not. Bye. That's not how they do it. But you know what? That's how a lot of people do it. You guys will actually counsel people. If they're not qualified today, you'll help them. You'll show them, here's what you need to do next, right?
Yep.
Yeah, well, that's an important thing because we do this every day, you know, as you know, more than most. And I like that because you can empathize with people that are really, really scared out there. So give them a call. It's a good place to start. Hey, make today the day that you get out of the house, you have some fun, do something you haven't done. You know, there's an old saying, done is better than perfect, right? Go do that thing that you always wanted to do. Quit thinking about it and go do it. Have some fun with your life. Enjoy your family, friends, and loved ones. Treat people like you want to be treated. Thanks for tuning in to one more show of Home Sweet Home with Russ McClellan and friends. Have a great day.
It's a brand new day, just came my way. I bought a new home, yeah, home, sweet home, oh, home, sweet home. Keller Williams, I love my dream home. Yeah, I love my dream home. Home, sweet